Conversations with Iris. Here's your host, my loving wife, Iris.
Hola, mi gente bonita. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Conversations with Iris, where we hold a space for real talk, raw truth, and that soulful goodness I love to call heart. I love that. I haven't used that in a long time, and I forgot about that. You know why? Because every story matters here. Your stories deserve to be heard. So let's continue to keep that going. Let's keep that momentum. And I love bringing you guys all these great and wonderful stories. With that said, don't forget that you can stream me on all platforms. Trust me, guys, I'm going to continue to preach about this. Always remind you guys every Friday, leave your girl here a good old rating, a review, whatever you have to. It would mean the world to me because it continues to fuel this little podcast that could. I love to say that because we're going and doing great things. So, let me tell you guys about today's episode. And I want to start out very personal here. I want to ask you a personal question. Do you sometimes feel like you're missing something after you've been successful? Like, why does it hurt even after I made it? Have you ever asked yourself that? Why does it hurt after you made it in life? Because today's conversation is for someone, whoever's listening out there, who's ever looked at success in the outside, but you still feel fractured in the inside.
Mm.
This is for anybody. I'm going to say it again. Why does it still hurt even after I made it? Because sometimes I feel like healing doesn't begin when the chaos stops. It begins when we finally tell the truth about where the pain started. I want to let that sink in a little bit while I introduce you to my wonderful guest today. Let me tell you about my guest. She is a fierce woman, a beautiful lady whose voice and story and journey may feel familiar to you, even if you don't realize it yet, because it's so relatable to many women out there in society. She has spent over 4 decades as a mentor, a writer, a public speaker in the recovery and women's empowerment space. I just love that. I'm all about women empowerment. You guys should know that already. But these are women that have been impacted by addiction, trauma, and the dysfunctional family systems, helping them towards healing, freedom, and just that thing that we love to call self worth. She even studied under John Bradshaw. I mean, worked as a program manager for the first sober living house and for women alcoholics in the United States of America. Look at that. And this is a program that later became, as we know it, as Promises. But she has just became such a wonderful, inspirational speaker, a life coach, a commercial actress, a print model. I mean, she's everything, even an author. And she's even worked closely with Schulz and Bill Melendez, starting her career in front of the camera at just 5 years old. Today, she's here not to just not to share the highlights. She's going to go ahead into the depths of where she rose from. And with her memoir coming out soon titled Good Grief, Hollywood Ate My Childhood. Oh, I love that. She's just going to tell us all about it. Without further ado, bienvenidos to Conversations with Iris, Hillary Momberger Powers. I'm so honored to have you here. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. I love your platform. I love knowing that anything I say or give is going to help another woman say and give it to another. That pay it forward energy is great. And
Mm.
I love just your open spirit. It's so interesting. I spent I spent my life in front of a camera in the beginning of my growing up. And so I was so conditioned. It's all about what you look like, who you act like, what you say, what you do. And
Man.
it was, you nowadays you think, oh my God, I want to be famous. There's a there's a complete world you have to enter when you get into that realm of getting somewhere, whatever that may be. And that's a world of leaving you behind.
Wow.
And that, when you really hear that, we want to go and we want to be, I want to be a TikTok star, an Instagrammer. I want everyone to know me. But then what you end up doing is you abandon you and you become what you think they want you to be.
Mm.
And
Look
there's
at
such
that.
an emptiness when that happens. And we do it in our normal world. When we go to college and we think, yeah, I'm going to get that degree. It's so important that the woman gets out and she makes a name of herself. But then she's
Yeah.
abandoned who that self is. And so
Mm,
we end up arriving to that destination, the end of that bright line. There's no brightness at all.
mm.
Kind of
Isn't
like,
that something? Isn't that something, right?
yeah, it's the paradox that I really believe in my heart of heart that my outsides are going to make my insides feel good.
Mm,
There's
mm.
the ultimate lie. So I'll give you a little bit about myself. I grew up in a family where my mother was a very beautiful model in New York City. And, unfortunately, she had been sexually abused. I didn't find out till later. It made a lot of sense why I was treated the way I was treated. um, through my whole world of learning how to forgive and empathize and see her as another human being instead of as my perpetrator, my Satan, the witch of the West. I started seeing her as a very hurt human being trying to fix her outsides because she was so broken inside.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh.
as a kid, she was this model and she grew up in the 30s and that was like a no, 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 no. She grew up in New York City. She was an elite. Her mother, her father was the assistant district attorney of New York City, and she was very, very blessed with things. She was a rich kid who had limousines, and back then you got to have a lot of money to have that stuff. But she grew up thinking she had to be somebody. And we think all that, all when we get coddled and given, we think it makes us bigger. It actually kind of shrinks our muscles. I don't work for anything.
Mm.
So when I got put into, as a kid, my mother gave up her career because, you know, girls didn't do things like that. They became teachers or mothers. It was really back in the day when
Or
we were,
housewives? Can
yeah,
I say that?
yeah, that's same thing, same story.
Yeah.
And so my mother, begrudgingly, resentfully, angrily gave up what her dreams were, the things that she wanted to do. So, she did what any woman does. She, starts drinking at a young age because that's what people who have alcoholism, do. They have
Yeah.
that seed inside of you. She tried to quiet her mind and quiet her sadness and drank. And then she met my father at a bar, basically at a sorority house. And my dad went to West Point, and she thought, oh, he's good looking. He'll make a good mate. And so, I always say drink, fight, and fuck. 7 children later, she actually got pregnant 9 times.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right.
I
Oopsie.
love it.
And so what happened is my mother found another way to get adored, worshiped, appraised, be being pregnant. A pretty woman who's living on speed. So, is probably born an addict, living on speed and looking beautiful and having all these, the Kennedy looking kids. So we were pretty kids, the blonde hair, the light blonde hair, blue eyes, and, you know, that,
Yeah.
okay. You think beauty is a gift. There's also a lot of shit that comes with it because
Mm.
people judge you and think you're supposed to have it down. And I didn't. I grew up and my mother decided to put us into acting. We were living in California and lo and behold, I look like Shirley Temple. And so when I went on my first interview, boom, I booked it. I met Charles Schulz. My first interview and job was auditioning for Sally and Charlie Brown Peanuts.
Yes.
And it wasn't like I thought I was supposed to memorize lines, but when I got in there, Charles Schulz and Belle Melendez, they just wanted to talk to me. And I was
Mm.
like enamored by, oh my God, I don't have to perform. So they just wanted me a kid. They wanted me interact with other kids and say what kid things would, say their lines like kids would do. So I started out there and then I branched off into making commercials. Now, what was going on in my house and what looked like on the outside, it looked like, wow, lucky girl. She's going on these auditions, she's doing these commercials. But really, what was going on was I started to already build a character based on fear.
Oh, wow.
Fear that if I didn't make it, my mother said, your brothers and sisters are going to starve. That, are you sure you want your brothers on the streets? And I'm like, oh my God, I got to get a job. I'm 6, you know?
Mm.
So I was given a lot of responsibility because my mother's illness, my mother's inadequacies and not feeling enough, she wanted us to fix her. Now, how many times do we do that? How many women do we see that have children? When I have kids, then I'll be a good mother and I will heal my childhood. Doesn't work like that.
No.
I only have to bring what I have to bring.
Wow. Wow. And
So,
thank and I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean
no,
to
go
cut
ahead,
you off.
interject because I
No, no, no. Please.
rapido.
No, sigue. Please do so. I don't want to interrupt you.
So I started growing up with I talk a lot about a trauma, and my keynote is no longer leading with your wound. And what does that mean? I don't even know that the first original wound called trauma, you know, is the one that drives me, meaning it picks every decision I make. So my past becomes my future. I grew up around this. I got to be a good girl. I got to look cute. I got to not talk about my feelings. Mom said they don't make money. Don't talk about feelings. Just be what they want you to be. So here I am building this character. And if you think of the word trauma and you think of tremor, it's kind of in the same family. When there's a tremor, think of an earthquake, everything gets shook and things get adjusted, shifted. I think it's tectonic plates. Can't even
Yeah.
say it. You know that word, guys. They get moved. So now everything's no longer what it used to be. And I don't know what's going to happen. So I go into this reptilian side of my brain that goes, fight or flight, good or bad. I got to be good. If not, I'm going to die and they're going to die. And so as 5 and 6 years old, I got blisters on my fingers. I'm biting my fingernails, but I'm smiling and looking cute because I don't want my brothers and sisters to starve and I don't want mom mad at me.
Mm.
Start
Mm-mm-mm.
building one of the major characters in trauma. There's 4, but I focus on 3. I like to keep it really simple. 3 is a really great number. Body, mind, spirit, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I mean,
Yeah.
the
It all
threes
matches, right? Like
are
three.
right. You're right. Ego, alcoholism, self, and people pleaser, loner, or controller.
Oh
I,
my goodness.
I pick one of them because why? I gotta survive. I'm in that fight or flight, that traumatic trauma. I'm going to die if I don't do this. So I become more of a people pleaser. I do whatever mom does. And like me now? Do you love me now? Do you love me? I'm building a character. You know where that goes when I'm 15, 16. Do you love me now? Do you love me now? Am I enough? So I build this character. I'm in the people pleasing mode. And I think I'm just being a good little girl. But see,
Mm.
I'm dealing with my mother, who's an alcoholic, a narcissist, God knows, borderline. She was institutionalized. She said, I talked my way out of it. I'm like, oh my God, she's crazy, you know? And so, what do you think I learned how to do? Talk my way out of it. Because I'm not being parented. I'm emulating, I'm copying my parents because I want her to love me. So I'm
Mm.
going to be everything she wants. And I want to be just like her. Little girls are like, well, I want to be like mommy. So
Oh.
here I am. Here's my parent, which is not really my parent. She's just like she's like the woman in the she's the madam in the brothel, you know?
And you know what? And Hillary, I definitely want to just add this on here because you mentioned something very important because you said that people try to heal the behavior. That's what I'm getting because without ever naming that little thing that we call wound, right? I
Right.
mean, coupled with that childhood trauma and growing up in an environment that, clearly was shaped by, out of your control, like it
Yeah.
need to be controlled an environment of image and
Yeah.
that emotional neglect and, but before that addiction to that, in retrospect to that, what did that environment taught you? like who you thought you had to be in order to survive.
Well, there was a lot of different layers. It's not just like, oh, white person, black person,
Yeah.
Latino. It's not that. There's all kinds of mixtures in there. Like it taught me as a young age. First of all, it taught me a lot if I can figure out how to get what my needs met because I wasn't getting it from my mother. So if I perform, I'll get a hit, that dopamine hit of like, oh, you're so cute. I got love for a second because I
Mm.
didn't have a mother was like, "Oh, honey, oh," I'll use
Tough
your
love.
language.
Yeah.
"Oh, mija, you need a hug." No, she
Yeah.
got like, "Oh, shut up, I'll give you something to cry about."
Yeah. Yeah. Tough love. That's what
Yeah,
it
tough
is.
love, brutal love. So, you know, what that develops in me is I live in fear, constant fear. I start developing I'm not enough. No one will love me. I have to overdo it. I have to be a people pleaser. I got to be Captain Save-A-Ho, which I bring into. I've got to do everything. Do you love me now? So I become the woman who I can do anything. What do you need me to do? As I'm bleeding inside, dying. I don't
Mm.
even know that I'm bringing my past into my present, which creates my future. And I
Wow.
just think I need a new car, a new job, another degree. That'll fix it. How do you
Mm.
like me now? Am I good now? Because if you say I'm okay, I can say I'm okay. And I couldn't get that. I didn't know that I was bringing this character into and there's so much violence and there was inappropriateness and there was sexual abuse and there was rage and police and drug addiction and my mother and father divorce and she marries a junkie who's a chemist, as my mother would say. He's going to win a Nobel Prize. What? Because he learned how to cook meth and he taught everyone in LA. Awesome. Go step in.
Yeah.
For real. That's the her delusion. And so I go from this structured life and now I'm about 11 and 12 and I'm no longer my voice changes. I no longer have that job. I
Yeah.
don't want to do commercials because I realize that everything I'm making, my mother's spending. So
Oh
now
my
I'm feeling I'm
gosh.
being used,
Mm.
and then mom says, well, we can always go into porn. And that's when I rebelled.
Oh man.
I was like, dude, no way. I don't even know what sex is, but I know porn's bad.
Mm.
know? So good girl turns totally bad. And I now go from people pleaser, my coping skills and trauma, to loner. I start disappearing. My mother calls me Hilary in her famous disappearing act. She's always gone because I'm running. I'm terrified. I need to get out. I got to get out. I don't know how I'm going to get out. And then I go into the controller. I start fighting with my mother. I'm gonna show her I'm smarter and I can hit her worse than she hits me, right? I get into
Yeah.
that dynamic. Not
Yeah.
because I want to be abusive. I don't want to be abused, but I become what I see.
Mm.
And so here I am going through all this minutia and this craziness. And mom's taking me to church. I'm recovering Catholic. Mom's taking me, and I'm thinking, I go to church, and I'm like, all right, God, if you're there, kill my mother and father, and may put me in my best friend Duran's house. I think God's Santa Claus. I wake
Wow.
up, there's crazy mom ripping me out of bed, telling me I'm a slob, taking all my drawers out. If you ever saw Mommy Dearest, I'm like,
Oh
there's my
yeah.
mother. That's my mother. Lucky me.
Mm.
So I go ahead and I don't believe in God because I think God's punishing me. I think I'm in purgatory. This is purgatory. Like I can't get out. So when I find drugs and alcohol, I didn't get loaded and do drugs and alcohol because I wanted to feel good. I did it because it changed my spirit. Think of the word alcohol, spirits. I no
Mm.
longer was Hilary because I hated myself. Because every time I said I'm going to be better, I was told I was not enough. And
Oh
so I
man.
hated myself. So now I go into carving at my wrist. My first overdose was 14. I hate myself. I look in the mirror. I try to hold my breath, hoping that I could stop breathing. I mean, I was on this mission of like, I just want to die, die.
Oh my goodness.
You
And
know,
you're
and
talking about what age around this time? You mentioned teens, right?
14, 13,
12-ish.
14. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Mm.
So here I am going through all this craziness, and I don't got a chance in life. And I'm thinking I'm not going to make it to 20, and I don't care. So now I'm on a mission of self destruction. I go to 9 high schools, um, or 7 high schools, and I made it to ninth grade. Um, and continuation school, I'm running away, I'm living, I'm hitchhiking in a bathing suit, wondering why I'm getting raped. I'm victimizing myself. And I start developing a character that I'm a victim. If you had my
Wow.
mom, I got a story going here.
Mm.
If you knew my mom, if you listen to my story, because I need my needs met. And I know that when people go, oh, Hilary, oh, I get a hit. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting love. I'm getting attention. Because now good tension didn't work, so I'm going to get bad attention. So I go through this and I drink and use, and my mother, I get in a fight with her. I hit her back, and she arrests me for assault and battery. I go to Y.
Wow. That's tough love for real, Hillary. Like right then and
That's
there.
yeah. And I want to really impress on you and your listeners that I love my mother. And I know that sounds really hard to swallow, but I had made a choice that either I stay in resentment and anger and drink the poison and pray she dies. She did eventually die. But now I see what I went through as one of the biggest advantages in life. Man, am I one
Wow.
resilient woman.
Mm.
Because my desire to feel better got bigger than my desire to not give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
So I go through this whole thing. I go to juvenile hall. I go to a foster home. There's sexual abuse going on there. And then I say, I just need to live on the streets. That's it. So I'm in Compton, South, North Long Beach, living in a warehouse with the one. Remember? He's the one, my first boyfriend.
Oh God.
You're going to rescue me, and I'm like, oh my God. But the funniest thing, at 16, he looked at me and he said, Hilary, your funnel's on backwards. You see life really weird. And I
Mm.
took it as an insult. But you know what? Thank God I do. I don't want to look at life like everybody else does. I want to go deep. I want to see what the real truth is. Who really am I? That those things that my mother told me, those are her principles. And a
Mm.
principle is a truth that I live by. That's her truth. She hated herself so much that she projected and reflected all that hate to me. And she told me I was what she was. And I bought it. I volunteered. I said, oh, I am? I'm a piece of shit? Oh, okay. I should have been aborted? Oh, okay. So what I do is I start acting out all these things she told me. Because I know how
Wow.
to perform.
Mm.
And I
And
did.
Hillary,
Yeah, go ahead.
no, 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 no. Go ahead. I just wanted to just say, add in there, like, did you ever think for like our listeners, if you ever just stop the behavior, you'll be okay? I mean, did you ever ask yourself that, like,
No, I meant well, but I couldn't do well.
Mm.
I was already, your character starts 6 and 7 to your 11, and then you are who you are until you
Wow.
make a decision. But a decision is really nothing until there's an action behind it. So I kept saying, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like this. But I kept doing it. So that fueled I hate myself. I can't do anything right. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not enough. And until it was enough. I was like, stop.
Mm. What age was that? Talk to us about that.
Well, when I was about 21 years old, I was getting high. I was working for a doctor's office. I lied to get into a nursing college, because I need my needs met. So I got to figure it out. I'm streetwise at this point. And I tell them my diploma's in the mail back in the day when you can get away with that. Now it's like, sorry, cling.
Now you got to prove it, but back in the
I'm
day, I'm
saying now
pretty
you
sure.
can go on Canva and create
Yeah.
one, but that's a side.
I know. Oh my God. I can't believe that things are doing that with AI. But
Oh,
yeah.
these kids get these diplomas. You're like, wow, he's an A student. It's like, no, he isn't. You got to print it up on fucking Canva, girl.
I know.
So anyway, so here I am. I get in this nursing college because intuitively, I want to help somebody because I think if I save you, you'll save me.
Yeah.
I don't know this, but my my subconscious mind is where my hurt lives, and it's also where my God lives. But I keep going to my hurt. So the hurt drives me. Survival. If I get you to take care, if I take care of you, you owe me. Then you'll be connected to me. Codependency 101. Then you'll need me. Codependency 101. I'm so codependent with trying to get you to love me. We do that with men. We do that with our kids. We do that with our friends. Look what I gave
Yeah.
you. Look what I did for you. I there's always a catch.
Yeah.
Always a
To
twist.
everything.
Yeah, until we realize what we're doing. But I'm so busy running from this hurt and this shame and this guilt and this, pain that I can't even stop to look at who Hillary is until I created a situation. I believe it was God inspired, where I was sitting on a fire escape in Venice. I'd just gotten high and I was taking a bunch of downers. And because I was trying to not numb the pain, I was trying to be somebody else, feel something else that wasn't Hillary.
Hmm.
And I went into a grand mal seizure.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I looked up and I still, to this day, I can just see exactly where I was. It was on the second floor. And I looked up and I said, if there is a God, please don't let me die. It's the first time I got desire. All of a
Wow.
sudden, they stopped.
Mm.
I'd love to say, and then, Mother Teresa and I started an orphanage, and here we are. But it didn't run like that.
Right?
I'm too, we're talking about, okay. I reference because, I grew up in a Latin community. I'm like, so when you make a gas, right? You don't
Yeah.
just stick, okay? You just
Yeah.
don't stick a meatball in. You got to prepare the rice.
Yes.
You got to do the whole
Everything.
thing. And then you got to put the onions in. You got to put the carrots in. You
Ay,
got to,
Dios mío.
right? So you got to do all this stuff. You don't just put it in and go, okay, we're ready, eat.
No, it takes
How you
time.
get salmonella and you die.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes time. It
It
takes
takes
time.
time. It takes time. And when you're in trauma, some of the things is you're in a hurry. You got to hurry up and save yourself, save yourself. So I'm in a hurry all day long. Are we
Mm.
there yet? Are we there yet? And I have this infantile ego that doesn't even know it's infantile. I just think I'm being smart. I'm going to figure that out. Right? That, come on, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. And I can't accept help because help means I owe you and I don't really have anything to give. Let me give to
Oh
you
my
so you owe
God.
me.
Yeah, and then so you were in Venice. You had that aha moment. It was not your time to go. You asked for
This
that
is not
prayer.
happening.
It happened. Hallelujah. And then fast forward a couple years. I mean, the recovery aspect, the inner
Wow. And then
child.
I decided I was forced into I made a decision that I was forced
Yes.
into, you know,
Mm. You
and
reclaim that power. Let's just say it how it is. I mean,
yeah,
you worked with that inner child healing, right? Because,
yeah, because I started a job and I started working at this hospital that was overseen by John Bradshaw, and I had a therapist there.
yes.
I became his project because he said to me, Hillary, you have no idea how much power you have. And I'm like, no, I don't. Everybody hurts me because I'm still claiming the victim. Poor
Yes.
Hillary. And thank God I took his gift, God shot, of therapy where I only had to pay what I could afford.
Oh, what a blessing. Look at that.
And I got, see, when you're ready, when your student's ready, teacher appears. When you're really ready, meaning you surrender. And what I mean by surrender is when I say I surrender, that's my ego making a decision. When I am left with no decisions and no plan, and I just raise my hands and say, help, there
Mm,
is surrender.
mm, mm.
And
And I also think you reclaimed that power too, right? You
well,
reclaimed it.
I surrender to win. I don't surrender to lose. I'm surrendering because I'm tapping into a power other than myself that's going to align me back to the power he gave me when I was born to be
Mm, look at
happy,
that.
joyous, and free. When I was a kid, It took me 2 hours to get to kindergarten because I would pick
Wow.
flowers, pet the animals, pet the horses, and I was in the moment. And then everybody was like 10:30, everyone was taking naps. I'm like, why aren't they taking a nap? Dilly dally, Hilly dilly dally, my dad used to call me. But that is an energy that when I reclaim who the real Hillary is, that's a childlike energy, not childish. It's a childlike energy that I get to bring into the women I help, I get to bring into the worlds I go to, my husband, my friends, my family. I get to bring that, not childish, childlike. And I
Mm,
have to, that old idea of who I think I am because of what I've done has to be broken. And how I
mm.
break that is by hitting bottom.
Wow.
I
Wow.
hit bottom on all of my tricks, my shenanigans, my ideas, my ego, my fears, everything. I was done. And it's hard to say when someone says, "When did you know you were in love?" I don't know, right?
That's such a vague question now. It's like,
Right. When did you know? I don't know. It didn't just happen. There's no such thing as all of a sudden, babe. Like I said, when you make a soup, do you put all the raw meat and say eat? No, it's got
mm,
to cook. And
oh
when
my
it's
God.
done, you know it's done.
Absolutely. And in fast forwarding here, I mean, you had your aha moment. You took therapy. You realized that you needed it. You
Hmm.
surrendered. You had no more decisions, as you mentioned. And
Hmm.
then you transitioned to leading the first sober living house for the
Well,
alcoholics.
it was a total God shot again
Look at
because
that.
I got married when I was 22. I'm like, you my daddy. Remember, I'm still trying to get rescued. My Carlito Reinaldo. Well,
Yeah,
actually, he's still my friend. He runs Tony Robbins
that's
business
awesome.
management courses for empowerment. Um, and it didn't work out. God knows why. I'm like 13 emotionally, and so I had nowhere to go, and our friends were opening up this little. They said, "Yeah, we decided." There was a couple. There was a Hazelton. There was, you know, uh, what is it? Ronald Reagan. I can't remember the place, the facility. It'll come to me in a second. And there was a couple other, you know, drug detox mental health facilities. They called them.
Yeah, there's money.
Yeah. And so Richie and Annie, who own this, they said, there's so many women that get sober, like they have nowhere to go. They're so broken. We get fractured a lot harder than men do, because we're an inner and they're an outer. Hello, we have a vagina, they have a dick. Okay, there.
Yeah, yeah.
Enough said. Enough
Simple
said.
as that, right?
Enough said, ladies. Okay, so
Yeah.
they're in charge of providing. Hello, and protecting, and we're in charge of receiving and nurturing. Okay, so all of a sudden it doesn't work out, and so where am I going with this? But I end up, I have nowhere to go, and they said, women, they die a lot quicker on the streets because they can't fight, they can't, their nervous system, they're emotional, they get sick really quick because we're emotional. Men just stick it in the trash can. They're like, I'm good. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
do that anymore. So they said, we're going to open this house where there's going to be 6 women living there, and we need a woman to manage it and oversee it. And I'm 24 years old. I'm like, what? Really? And I'm like, they're 60-year-olds. I thought it was like old as dirt. And I'm 60, almost 64. I'm like, okay, you're talking to you, girl. And
Yep.
so looking at, and they said, okay, what you need to do is you need to enforce them to do their chores, work their program, go to meeting, all these things. And I'm thinking they're basic things, but when you live wild in the streets and you're large and in charge and nobody tells you what to do, it's like, wow, that's a little harder than a 5-year-old that says, put your shoes on. Okay. This is like
Yeah.
women that are like, don't tell me what to do. I got this. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, how's that working for you? You're in this house. I'm not, right?
Mm.
So so I get this little shack in the back, literally a shack. That was a shed. And I turned it into my room for 2 years. but I'm young. I don't care. I'm stupid. So I'm like, I'll do it.
Yeah, live of how it goes, right? So,
Right. I'm just rolling with it. I'm like, okay, God, you got me here. I don't know why I'm here, but just help me be the woman you want me to be. So I started practicing prayer of like tapping into a power other than Hillary, because my real Hillary says, you can't do it. You're going to screw it up. You'll never get it right. There's my driving voice, that little wounded little girl that I'm trying to heal, but I don't even know where she is, except she
yeah.
speaks to me, she makes decisions, I listen, and then my life falls apart. So I'm practicing
Oh.
doing the opposite. And
Mm.
so I do this for a couple years. And what happens to me is I start standing taller. I start realizing I am needed because of me, not because of what I'm doing, because they chose me because they believed that I would do well. So they didn't give me confidence. They didn't give me self-esteem. I earned it in my deeds.
Mm.
And I
Mm.
start growing. And this was just the beginning of my journey in recovery. I got really big and what ended up happening is I went back to art school while I was living at this house, and I worked on these posters of movie boards, like I used to paste up and lay out. I worked at graphic arts. I went to LA.
That's awesome.
And then I said, I want to work on movies. And my mentor said to me, Hillary, you got to pick something. I'm like, why? I've got so many interests. She said, because you need stability. And I'm like, yeah, but I like doing a lot of different things. Little did I know, I was just
Yeah.
kind of running from Hillary. But I ended up going to UCLA Film School, and I became a script supervisor. And
Wow.
I ended up moving out, transitioning, getting my own job, getting a job and moving out. And I excelled really, really big. And around 10 years sober, I went out and I drank because I thought I was a different person because my outsides changed so much.
Yeah.
There's
Oh
the
my God.
illusion. I still had a lot of healing, and I immediately got back into recovery like next day. And I thought, wow, I'm a Cadillac girl. I'm never going to be a Porsche. But I kept
Mm.
trying to be that Porsche. I tried to be different. I'm healed. I'm recovered. I don't have any I don't I'm not having trauma in my life, so I don't have it. That's when I started going deep.
Wow.
And I started
Wow.
looking at, wow, I really need a lot of work. I need my insides fixed, not my outside. I need my engine fixed. I need a new hard drive, babe. I need it. And I realized this. And the power in surrendering and saying, yes, I need it, opposed to, yeah, I guess I got to do it. It's two different things. I was
Mm-hmm.
certain that in order for me to have the inside life I've already always dreamed of, not the outside, the inside life where I can look in the mirror and I look in the mirror today and I say, you've done a really good job. I'm proud of you, Hillary. I'm really
Yeah.
proud of you. You have come a long way. Thank you, God, for giving me strength and courage and ambition and love and people, places, and things to mold me into the woman that can actually help and guide another human being. What a gift.
Yeah.
God.
It
I
truly
don't
is.
I claim it, but it isn't of my doing only.
Mm.
Because if
Mm.
I think it's my doing, I'm back to playing God and I'm gonna shit show my life overnight.
Oh my God. And Hillary, I wanted to add this because listening to your beautiful speaking engagements, I mean, you say this, and this just stuck to me. You use this beautiful quote: use your scars to thrive, not to
Baby.
survive.
Hell
Mm,
yeah.
I
Go.
love that. I'm going to say it again for our listeners because this is very important. And I want to definitely go ahead after that and take it to your new memoir because we definitely want to know a little bit about that. But use your scars to thrive, not to survive. I don't know. That just rings a tune to my soul. I don't know. It's something about that quote that just goes beyond. It's
Yeah.
deep. And I can see that coupled with everything that you have been through, that helped drive that inspiration for your
Mhm.
memoir that's coming out soon. I
Yeah.
mean, that title alone, good grief, Hollywood ate my childhood. I love that. Let's talk about that. And when can we expect that?
Well, I wrote it like I started writing it like 15 years ago. And I kept thinking, why am I writing this? And I just thought, God, why did I go through all this stuff? why did, and then I thought maybe I did it because maybe intuitively I wanted to help somebody, because
Yeah.
there's nothing like going to a therapist or a coach. Like I see these coaches, they're like, I'm a life coach. I'm like, girl, you haven't had anything happen to you. I
Yeah.
want to talk to the one that said, yeah, I know what it's like to eat out of trash cans. Oh yeah. I mean, I am a woman and I'm very, very transparent because I say, you can't kill that character. She's dead. I mean, I was in my 20s selling myself, and
Yeah.
then I switched to selling myself for money. I got married. Same thing, ladies. Sorry. Because I thought if I do this, then you'll take care of me. Same vein. I didn't know that I was doing it to get. I wasn't doing it to love, to serve, to give.
Look at that. Mm.
Right. So I started looking at this stuff, and it's amazing how I thought of this stuff, and I started pen to paper, and I took one of the girls I was
It's
mentoring
beautiful.
and I said, will you listen to my story? I want to tell you, and I want to tell you everything. And I wrote this based on, I'm going to bare my soul because you can't kill me, I'm already dead, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you that no matter what you do, you are not what you've done. That's the
Mm.
illusion. that
Mm.
that in order for you to feel better, you got to go inside. It's an inside job. I got to clean my insides out because that's where I project my life. I've studied a lot of things. Like I studied Buddhism, Judaism. Went and took Kabbalah for 2 years or
Oh wow.
3 years. I mean, I was just hungry. I was searching. I was thirsty for knowledge, thirsty for spirituality, thirsty to be enlightened, meaning I wanted my load lighter. And I was so thirsty. And this woman said in Kabbalah, you know, your movie doesn't start out there to inside. Your movie starts from the inside out. And I remember
Mm.
going, wow, I've got more work to do because I don't like what's happening in my world.
Mm. And
So
can
I
you
started,
repeat that again? She said that your movie starts from the inside out. Did I say that correctly?
yes,
Oh,
my light shines from inside out, not the outside in. And
that's deep.
we live in an ecosystem here where it's like, get a job, show you're sitting next to a Lamborghini and a Porsche, and people love you. It's like, no, but
Yeah.
but who are you? What's your cavity? What's your soul? God gave me
Mm.
this incredible spirit that I had been stuffing with things, people, places, and things, and I wasn't even there. I was,
Wow.
you know, and I kept thinking when I get that job. And let me tell you, I've done a lot of extraordinary things. Like I've worked on over 300 plus movies. I've been all over the world, from the Fast and Furious to the, the, you know, uh, you name it, Ally McBeal to West Wing to, you know,
Everything.
I've worked on. It doesn't make me who I am. That's just something I do, ladies. That's not
Mm.
who I am.
Mm. Mm. And I love that, Hillary, because I mean, you live so many identities. I mean, caregiver, you were a counselor, you're a
Mhm.
creative performer. I mean, you are teaching us and our listeners that you had to release ego more than once. You
Oh
you
yeah.
fell on your face many times, but then you got up. And
Hmm.
we are excited, for this memoir to come out because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us could take away from this on how do we rebuild the character when our old coping mechanisms no longer work. That's very important. And as we
It's
wrap
so
up,
possible. It's so
yes,
possible, ladies.
yeah,
You can do it. It's in you. It's already there.
yeah.
You don't have to build it. It was instilled in you. Kindness, love, self-respect. It was already given to you at birth.
Mm, mm-mm. Before we wrap up, Hillary,
Mhm.
can you tell our listeners where they could find you, follow your work, and learn more about your wonderful speaking engagements, your writing, your upcoming memoir? We just want to follow you. Where can we find you?
Oh, you're so cute. So I have a website, HillaryMombergerPowers.com. You can email me directly at info at HillaryMombergerPowers.com. You can send me an email. I can set up a calendar link. We can talk. I can see if I can help you. If not, I don't have a problem. I don't want to be a guru. I want to be a guide.
Yeah.
I'm not your God. I want to be your guide to get you back to you and God. So you
Mm,
can, that's what I want. That's my dreams. So yeah, and I have, I've got my acting stuff up there. I tell you my memoir that I'm kind of pimping to the publishers right now. And I've got a
yes.
few children's books I've written, and I'm really kind of excited. This last couple weeks, I met a woman when I moved from LA to Georgia, and I'm in Florida now. I'm like, if God's for me, who can be against me? And I kept saying, I'm fine. I'm protected. God's good. I got this. Thank you, God. Thank you. And every time I praise, I get gifted. So I met a woman, and we wrote a couple of screenplays, and they're like film festivals. They won first prize. I'm in a couple silly movies on Hulu right now. So, and it's not about me getting, it's about me in that childlike state,
Yeah.
in that state of wonder, creativity, and excitement. And I'm just bringing it, and I'm knowing that life has millions of opportunities,
Mm,
millions, ladies. It's not
mm.
like, I got to be a nurse, I got to be a doctor, I got to be a lawyer. Oh, girl, if you can think it, you can be it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I love how you mentioned life has a million of opportunities.
Oh,
There's so many
so
things that
many.
we could be. Isn't that great? Isn't that beauty of it?
Yeah, don't
I
limit your
love it.
thinking, because your
Oh,
thinking is coming from your wound that says, I'll never get there. I'm not
mm,
pretty enough. If I
mm.
would have been raised over there, if I were this color, if I had that money, it's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit,
Yeah.
bullshit. I call bullshit right there.
Yeah. No, it's true. Thank you, Hillary. I mean, this has been wonderful. I mean, I love the honesty, your courage, and I feel like it's all about a presence. It's not about perfection. And it just
Mhm.
like I mentioned before, this has been great. And I just want to thank you so much for like I said, giving allowing this platform to share your story. We're excited to see what you have in store and coming. You're still doing great things. And I have to say,
Mm.
you look great. I have to
Uh,
say that going to your website, I was like, wow, this is exactly what I want to look like when I'm 64 years old.
when I'm old, don't
Exactly.
say it. Exactly.
When I
When
am old. Beautiful, beautiful pictures. I'm telling you, it's the best picture I've ever seen. You gotta check it
just
out, listeners.
remember, when you take care of your insides, it's like if I make coffee with toilet water,
Oh,
it's going to taste like shit, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
if I make it with fresh, when I pray, when I meditate, when I write out, and I shred all my thoughts in the morning, when I'm having my brain's on crack, I need to get rid of it. I clean my cavity out. And remember, it's an inside job, because then the insides start reflecting on the outside.
Mm, that's deep. That's deep. Hillary, I want to thank you so much for your beautiful story. As I mentioned, to my gente bonita, to my listeners, just reminder to ourselves that, as Hillary mentioned, life has a million of opportunities out there for you all. Make sure to check out her upcoming memoir. It's definitely going to be in the works soon. Guys, thank you so much for this. Con mucho amor. This has been Conversations with Iris. Take care and much love to you all. Thank you all.